welcome to New Game Plus. I'm Tim. I'm joined by Donald. How are you?
I am in the competitive spirit because I, for the past week or so, like you, have been soaking in absolute competitive spirit. Some of the finest gathering into the one location to compete in the Olympics. And you were thinking of the international, weren't you, Tim?
Yes, or the OPL.
The what now?
The League of Legends Australian finals.
Oh, the other Dota thing. Yes, but no, like once every 4 years, I just soak myself in all the appreciated but not so loudly appreciated sports out there. So I just watch the archery, the fencing, the rugby sevens have been particularly good to watch. So it is just my little oasis for the rest of the time where what is this sport ball business?
Yes, and that really does bring up the question if games were to be part of the Olympics, what would they be? And some organizations have tried it before, like World Cyber Games, representing your nation in certain games. And now a UK organization is trying to pick it up. And in Brazil, just after the Olympics, we're looking at the E-Games, featuring games like Super Smash Brothers. Not too many of the big popular games, certainly team games as well, because esports nowadays isn't really a national thing. It crosses a lot of borders.
Indeed, there are a lot of Dota teams where they're essentially just Skype hubs placed all around the world. So there's an interesting challenge in trying to, because that's the thing, people can associate with teams fun and dandy, but if you want the layman to try and appreciate esports, you need to hook them in the most basic form possible, and that is by nationality.
Yes, or just have at least one American on the team so someone can chant USA.
No, we'll be chanting USA no matter what. It's just a fun chant to do.
It is. But
other than Aussie, 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 of course. Good, I can keep my Australian license.
Yes. In this episode, you have the news.
Yes, I talk about G2A, and we also have a preview of the upcoming Attack on Titan video game.
But first up, let's go into our first segment.
Picture this, Jason. If Carpenter Brute was a chef and he put El Shaddai, No More Heroes, and Nier in a blender and came up Furi, a Furi blended drink, would you drink it?
I guess, but I'm just amazed that anybody can actually remember El Shaddai.
I know, isn't that right?
A glimpse in time.
Right, so the developers definitely took cues from this in the game of Furi, which is for PC and PlayStation 4.
But it is free on PlayStation Network, which is
very good incentive to play. Just play this goddamn game. So anyway, the story is you are a person who is imprisoned and tortured and tormented by 7 to 8 different jailers.
Yes.
And basically what you do is a systematic boss rush where you go each and every one of them, expose their weaknesses in this fantastic game of rhyme and rhythm.
Yeah, so it is really, the mechanics are basically bullet hell meets hack and slash. So it's a lot of, when No More Heroes comes into it, is that it's a lot of the boss fights to boss fights, but without any of the faff in the middle, without the corridor fights and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Has its own unique sense of style. The art style lands it. There's just so much to enjoy about this, both aesthetically and from the sense that they didn't reach too far. It knows what it wants to do, it does it. And for an indie game to do that nowadays is fantastic. It just nails what it wants to do and gets it done.
Exactly. I mean, when it all comes down to it, probably the perfect analogy for this is that it doesn't exactly reinvent the wheel, but it is an incredibly well-oiled one.
But it doesn't need to, and that's what it does well. Is that its elements are taking those elements, bring them together. It's a lot of Nier in that sense, like bullet hell mixed with hack and slash, but it doesn't have any of the real heavy story development. This is a slice in time. Basically, progress from boss to boss to boss, figure out how to beat each one. That's your gameplay. There's your whole thing. It's a couple of hours. You're not going to get much more than that unless you play back through it.
You also do get a fair amount of unlocks at the end. You do get yourself speed run modes and things like that. So, and also harder game modes. And it is a massive challenge, a humongous undertaking. But the reward and being able to understand the rhythm of the characters, their attacks and everything is just such an insanely rewarding experience. You owe it to yourself to play Furi if you love video games. It is a fantastic, polished experience, and you will be a much better person if you play it.
Not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed? Now, with mobile gaming, there still is a little bit of a stigma when it comes to certain people diving into mobile experiences. So generally, people think they're not going to get the exact same experience as they would a traditional handheld console or even home consoles.
Yeah, and even though there's been some relatively big advances in mobile tech lately, yeah, there's still that stigma, which is kind of unfortunate.
Thankfully, Square Enix is here to bridge the gap once again with Mobius Final Fantasy, their latest AAA mobile experience for iOS and Android.
And guess what, guys? It's free to play, none of this stupid Square Enix tax.
So yeah, with most Final Fantasy games, there is a bit of an overarching plot. You come across a particular male character who is nameless, who is actually your character's name, within the world of Palamecia. So there's a whole bunch of people who assume the identity of your character's name, vying to become the Warrior of Light. Now, there's a lot of people who are kind of charging and really cheering for you on for victory to becoming the Warrior of Light with a certain few people, such as princesses, along with Vox, who is just this nameless apparitionless entity that just keeps speaking to and giving you instructions.
Right.
So, and a lot of people are kind of giving you different instructions and methods and things to do. So there's a lot of just a lot of people telling you to do different things, whereas you yourself, you're trying to assume your own identity, your own motivations, and everything like that.
And that's all well and good, but what's the game like, though?
The game like? So it is a little bit of a mix between, it marries some really good concepts of some recent console Final Fantasy games. So there's a break system where you utilize elemental attacks and weaknesses to break your enemy, similar to that of Final Fantasy 13. Works extremely well. The way MP and magic spells work are little orbs that come up on screen at once as you use base attacks. So you always got to kind of go in and attack. And depending on how well you utilize your melee and elemental attacks is based on a score you get, which ranks you up with everybody else within the world that's playing the game.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. But right now, the one thing I'm concerned about, because this game's been out in Japan for a little while now, like, how is this game going to keep living on like past this? That's the kind of the big thing. Like, I like it. Maybe it's not the best kind of pick it up for maybe 5-10 minutes at a time, but other than that, yeah, I just want to see how far this goes in the future.
It also eats up a lot of memory too, so make sure you do have a fair amount of memory before starting this game. But aside from that, fairly solid experience.
Let's talk about G2A, a company which, if you're like me, you'd recognize by their logo, which has appeared on so many Twitch streams. The logo might as well have burnt itself into your monitor. If you're not aware, G2A is basically a place where you can buy unused game keys for various games. Or, as G2A put it in this actual commercial,
"Come to our magical land for gamers.
Please, buys, sells.
G2A.com, the biggest digital marketplace."
OMG! The value is pure ownage! Hashtag game. Oh god, sorry about that. It's important to note that these keys don't come from the developers or publishers themselves. Rather, they come from users who happen to have obtained these keys either through a bundle or, as you'll find out, through more nefarious means. Depending on your perspective, G2A is either the eBay of game keys, or if you're feeling less generous, it is the dodgy back alley pawn shop of e-keys. What? Hey, do you want this wallet? It's definitely probably not stolen. There are some who believe G2A to be on the pawn shop side of that spectrum. In September 2015, Riot Games banned G2A as a sponsor of League of Legends team after it found the site to have been selling ELO boosting services and leveled up LoL accounts. G2A responded by continuing to sell those products to this day. And on top of that, earlier this year, when a Brazilian player was fined for wearing a G2A logo after the ban, the company valiantly stepped in, paid for the fine, and made a press release which was so back-patty. I'm surprised that it didn't turn itself around and finish off the happy ending. Until it did. Quote, G2A shirts became overnight a symbol of protest. Yes. Because people are known to rise up and fight for the rights of industry-leading companies. Yes, don't you all remember that time after the Exxon Valdez oil spill when everyone was proudly walking the streets wearing their dicks out for Exxon t-shirts? More recently, G2A's critics have accused the site of doing nothing to stop fraudulently sold keys being put on the marketplace. How did this work? It's kind of simple, but it's also kind of boring. So whilst I'm explaining it, please enjoy this gallery of generic cybercrime stock photos. Stolen credit cards are used to en masse purchase keys from various bundle sites and other key resellers. These are then placed onto the G2A marketplace at a much lower price than those of other games, which means they'll be quickly snapped up before the credit cards are reported as stolen and the purchases nullified. However, by this point, the frauders have made their money, G2A has earned its fees, and the publishers are not only out of pocket for the original payment, but they are also slogged with a chargeback fee, which may amount to tens of dollars per transaction. This happened to Humble Bundle in 2012 when they lost $44,000 in 24 hours because of chargebacks. This all came to a head in June when indie publisher Tiny Build released a blog post accusing G2A of selling $450,000 worth of its games on its marketplace without compensation, and it believed that many of these keys were fraudulently obtained. G2A took the high road in its response and, no wait, not the high road, the other one, and released a statement which was just filled with pettiness and ad hominem attacks, which before eventually calling on the company to, quote, provide their list of suspicious keys within 3 days from the date of this transmission. That may look like a press release, but without language, it almost sounds like a ransom note. This story in particular caused massive dissent amongst the community and caused a lot of G2A's major YouTube and Twitch partners to sever ties with the company, including Lyric and Mr. Matty Plays. Although, I don't think G2A is quite ready for this breakup. And this is true. When I was researching this piece, I was watching Mr. Matty Plays' video explaining why he left G2A. What ad appeared on that video? None other than our old friends at G2A.
My sponsorship with G2A.com, which has just been terminated, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run.
To G2A's credit, it has changed its policies. It now allows developers to apply for a 10% royalty on any of its games sold on the site. It has also introduced verification policies for new sellers to try and reduce the fraud. These changes come as better late than never, but there are still some questionable practices on G2A. They are still selling the ELO boosters that cause them to be banned from League of Legends, and I don't even have the time to get into G2A Shield. Suffice to say, the cancellation process reportedly involves 11 steps and 20 minutes. G2A are on their way to legitimacy, but they are being dragged there, kicking and screaming. I understand the need or the desire to want cheaper games, but there are more legitimate ways to get these games. You don't have to go through the company that purports its shirts to be, quote, an act of protest. And that is everything that has happened in the world, ever.
So Jason, you and I like playing games on our phones.
Don't throw me into that particular thing.
Hey,
I'll get
hey.
hate mail because.
There's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of good phone games out there.
But that's not the ones that people play. And this is the main
Yeah.
contention is that like the hardest part of like playing mobile games is you either got to pay $10, $12 for an upfront decent game,
Right.
or you've got to like sift through the utter trash that is freemium games.
And and there's just a lot of it out there, especially now with Pokemon GO kind of taking over the world.
Yes, which is both good and bad because it means that a lot of people are like that's obviously become the focus for a lot of people. But it also allows great games like Rodeo Stampede, which actually came out before Pokemon GO.
Right. Made here in Australia.
Made in Australia to somewhat flourish. And basically, the core concept is you start on like an animal from a safari. You run along down like a winding road of different animals. You jump from animal to animal. They all have different attributes. They all have different things that they do, and you kind of level up.
It's
that way.
Endless Runner, but it's also which I like it's a lot more kind of active and flowing than say Temple Run or
Yes.
that horrible Prince of Persia clan that was like that.
Yeah, but the problem I face is that the controls just aren't precise enough, which is always the problem with touchscreens. And the monetization is a little bit expensive. Like I'm more than happy to play a freemium game, and then it's like, $3 and you play it without ads. I'll pay that.
Which is
$3.
fair.
If I get half an hour out of it, $3 is worth my time. But this is like $10 for the cash cow. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. Like if it was $5, you'd go, all right, well I'm going to play to eat, so it doesn't matter. But this is the hard part. We still haven't hit the best model for monetization, but things are getting better.
Right.
Except for when they're not, like in Dokkan and stuff like that.
Let's not talk about Dokkan.
Yeah, that's probably there. But you want to play one of the classic games from, was it first on PSP, I want to say? There, look at that. It's
So I spent a lot of time with Luminous Puzzle Music, which is out now on iOS. It's only available in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, and it's also kind of early because it's a fun little game, except the times when it keeps crashing on me.
So is it? So I guess that is the question. So it's a soft launch. They're obviously trying to.
Yep.
Because if it's us and Japan, then they're going to the market they know, but they're also the Western market that's the precursor to everything else. So, like, it's obviously still the same kind of gameplay. Like, drop your blocks, the music.
Yeah, drop.
Goes
It's
over
basically you make kind of a cube of two by two squares. You have music. Everything you kind of explode goes along with the music. The music is amazing. It's luminous. It's kind of really hard to explain, except the fact that if you've never really played this game before, it's a lot slower than maybe you're used to for a puzzle game, which I think can throw a lot of people off.
But this is, I mean, it's Mizuguchi, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so Mizuguchi, that's what he's known for, these unique games that have some kind of interaction with music.
Right.
So you can call them simplistic games, and they really are, like even Bib Ribbon and stuff like that doesn't mean they're easy, but it means they're simplistic. But the way that they interact with the music of the game has kind of set the trend for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, Luminez is a trendsetter, but I guess it remains to be seen whether it's actually going to be a decent game in its own right.
I mean, at the moment, it's fine. Like, there's plenty of content. The controls are easy enough to master. It's just a case of, I mean, I'm running the iOS 10 beta, so maybe that helps, but it's still a little early. So maybe wait a couple of months and hopefully it'll be a little better, I suppose.
QuakeCon was very recent, and that trailer came out of QuakeCon. A lot of, I don't know, unease coming around this game release.
Yeah, particularly around the aspects of the hero and esports angles, because like they are really pushing this to be an esport with pure skill, pure FPS.
Yes, and it does remind you a lot of Quake. The movement, the boosts, the weapons, but those hero powers certainly throw a bit of worry in there, seeing as the popularity of Overwatch, hopefully
Dota.
That they don't try and follow those mechanics in games too closely and really keep to what made Quake really good.
And when this game was initially announced at E3, there's much more unease now, but now people are seeing this trailer, they're at least staying true to what people remember of Quake 3. So that is the railgun shots just across the map, the rocket jumping, and just all the gibs and just overzealous announcements.
Yes, and it makes me really sad that Quake Live didn't do as good as it. Well, I really hoped, because Quake III Arena was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was much more played Unreal Tournament.
So, correct answer there. Unreal Tournament is for winners.
Yes. But really hoping they can bring back what made Quake good, and hopefully they don't fuck it up.
We've been lucky enough to get our hands on a game from your favourite anime, Attack on Titan. Shingeki no Kyojin.
I thought it was going to be some, like, you know...
What, shoujo, like Sailor Moon?
Not Sailor Moon, but, you know, whatever.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Wings of Freedom, Attack on Titan. We've had a chance to play the preview.
Yep.
What are your thoughts so far on... Because to me, the one thing that really stands out about it is the motion. Like, I haven't felt like I've enjoyed motion this much since Spider-Man 2.
I'd say that it feels very much like it should. Like, it's very well done in the sense that you do feel like you're in that world.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that it's like hasn't been done since Spider-Man. Like, there's been a few
I was like prototyping even things stuff like
Just
that.
Cause, but
Yeah.
they had their own kind of movement, and this does have its own type of movement. It doesn't take everything from others, but
you feel like you're in a medieval world where you have to use gas canisters.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we are. Like, that's the game that we're playing.
Yeah.
And unlike say Just Cause and all that kind of stuff as well, it's not about all all in all outward aggression.
There's a lot more planning and a lot more strategy involved. It's got resources. You actually have to micromanage your resources, in like how they did. Like, you know how they had to replace their blades, replace their gas, everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, it does it very, very well. And even the movement, while it feels slightly odd at the start, it feels very nice once you actually get used to it.
It is one of those things that once you kind of do get the flow for it feels fantastic. And again, it just makes sense in that world. Like having the shift left and right requires you to expel certain amounts of gas. And then, you know, it's like... And the other thing is, while being Titans, like for those who don't know the show, the only place the Titans are vulnerable is the nape of the neck. So you have to cut them. You can cut them anywhere else, but they'll recover and they'll get back up and they'll be fine. So you can use... So you say cut them at the knees, and then cut them in the back of the neck to kill them. But you have to cut them in the back of the neck to kill them. So it is all about that positioning. Then suddenly you can be attacked by some rogue Titan coming up from behind you. And
There's a lot. It's a lot more, I guess, planning and almost strategy than just a standard action game. It's really hard to even like translate this to from like other skills. Like it's not a Dynasty Warriors game. It's not a like action kind of mash button game.
Koei Tecmo, who are known for like Megaforce, who are known for Dynasty Warriors and the Hyrule Warriors games. Games like that. Games that are basically here's a wave of enemies of similar height to you, similar size to you. Then occasionally Lubu shows up and you have to run. You know, all those kind of title tropes. So for them to have a game where you actually have to like do these pinpoint precision assaults, it's not necessarily about the combos, it's about the motion. It's a different tack for them, and I think they engage it really well.
They're surprisingly well. Like coming in from thinking that Omega Force is doing this type of game, I was. I'll be saying that I was slightly doubtful of this game. Like, even seeing some of the like early footage and stuff without me having my hands on the game itself, I was doubtful. Like, I didn't think that they'd be able to actually do it as well as they've done. And you know what?
And so game comes out the 28th.
Yep.
We'll have a full review ready for you then. But I think you should be excited. I think it'll surprise a lot of people.
It's heartening to see that a little bit more care is being put into these adaptations of TV shows and animes and movies and the sort.
And certainly a series like Attack on Titan, people will be demanding like accuracy to the series.
Although, like I said, some of the spin-offs from Attack on Titan haven't met the high standard of the anime. So the live action movie, the chibi adaptation, have all kind of thudded.
Yes, so a lot of the anime fans here in the studio have been looking forward to this game, and the preview of it was very interesting.
And we're coming off a time where these adaptations have been okay. Like the One Piece video game is still regularly played amongst the New Game Plus crew.
And the adaptation of the movie based on the video game, based on the movie, based on the video game, Ratchet and Clank. The game was good. I'm yet to see the movie though. I still have hopes, even though it flopped absolutely horribly.
To be bitterly disappointed.
Oh.
But this comes remember back in say the end of the PlayStation 1, start of the PlayStation 2, that was the real dark age of video game adaptations, and I blame entirely Simpsons Wrestling.
Oh,
that
God.
game was hot garbage.
But at least Simpsons Hit and Run was alright.
Yeah, and Simpsons Skateboarding was also pretty crap, let's face it. My God, there hasn't really been that many good Simpsons video games, have there? It's almost as if, ever since the Golden Age, everything Simpsons has been bitterly disappointing.
That is far too true, including the Simpsons shitposting group, which sadly got taken over. It was the best thing about Facebook, and now it's gone.
It was the best of times, now it's the blurst of times.
Yes, unfortunately. But that is it for this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed the competitive esports and normal sports that have been happening over recent weeks. Congratulations to whoever won OPL as we're
Mr.
filming
Black.
before the results. But visit our website, www.newgameplus.tv.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/NewGamePlusTV.
Follow Twitter and Instagram at NewGamePlusTV.
And subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch. We are New Game Plus TV. One word, no spaces.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll see you guys next week.
That's a really squeaky chair.